Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. Firstly, I just want to thank you personally for attending. I know it's the end of the season. You're probably sick of my voice and my emails and my infringement notices. Someone's waved in the back already saying, yep, absolutely. Thanks, Derek. What I'd like to do, hopefully, is give you a better understanding of the new systems in place, hence Football Federation Australia, going around with a digital showcase of what's happening. So, firstly, thanks Tom and Luke. So we've got Tom Fowell, Digital Manager, FFA, and Luke Bould, the head of commercial at the FFA as well. So, guys, what we will be filming. So, if anyone doesn't want to have their face on camera, just probably move towards the back. I know Ben's out of shot, which is good. Thanks, Ben. So what I'll do is I'd like to welcome Tom up to the podium and he can kick us off. Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much, Alex. And thanks for coming. This is an outstanding turnout to hear about digital systems. So thank you very, very much. Hopefully today we'll give you a bit of an insight into what's happening in the digital space across your member federation and what FFA are rolling out. So hopefully you leave today having seen a lot of the benefits that we are going to bring. So I know I've been here a couple of years ago. I mispronounced a couple of club names then, so hopefully I'll get them right this time. But we really want to show you, and introduce you to some really big and fundamental changes that will be happening in the registration system in the first phase, then in the competition phase. So as Alex said, we will record this, so if there's any other keen people at your club who want to see this, you'll be able to send it out to them as well. And we'll also send out the slide deck as well for people who'd like to comb through that and pick up on anything there. So we're doing this presentation in all the metro capitals of Australia. It's getting the word out about what's coming. So we're really trying to improve the digital experience because we know that there is currently some disjointment in the experience right now. So what are we going to go through tonight specifically? We're going to take you through a quick Play Football vision, so Play Football being the new My Football Club. So firstly, we want to look at where we want to be. We obviously know that football is the largest sport and the best sport, so we want to make sure that we're providing the best digital experience as well. So we've got these big grand plans for digital experience. Mainly to make sure that we're saving volunteers' time. We know that it's a heavily volunteer-run sport. We want to make sure that we're creating digital tools that basically make it easy for people to run clubs and don't actually add more hassle, make it a lot easier at the end of the day. So that's the big outcome hopefully of today. So we'll be looking at the kind of two key areas of registrations and competitions. Take a quick look at how we got to where we are. We will be showing you parts of the new system today, and hopefully you will see some of the really big benefits. And we also will have a look at the competition management system quickly. Some people won't be going to the new comps in Football West for this year. It'll just be a rollout of some of the community clubs. The MPL won't be affected, but we will show you a little bit of that as well. We really want to show you all these benefits that will be coming out. We'll take you through the training and rollout plans as well. We understand that every place is a little bit different. We wanted to make sure that we've kind of got these tailored training plans for you. So we've worked with Football West to start to come up with those. And again, everyone learns in different ways as well with new digital systems. So we wanted to make sure that we've covered all those cases. We just want to show you the new system because it's going to be adding benefits to not just you guys, not just to players, but referees, coaches, people who run the canteen, all of those kind of things as well. So just to make sure I've covered up there, the last thing, there will be about half an hour of question time. We can ask us anything about what we've said tonight. So if you do have any questions, save them up to the end. If there is something that I've said, feel free to interrupt. But we will have the Q&A later on if you wanted to ask any questions. So Before I start, my name's Tom. I've been at the FFA for 6 years now. I worked in the Michael Club Support Centre to start 6 years ago, so I might have taken a call and tried to help you through the old My Football Club system. I'm a football player myself. I play up front. I regularly miss lots of goals, so I'm much better off in administration. And last time I was here, I pronounced Joondalup wrong, so I'd like to apologise to Joondalup. I said Joondalup, and I still haven't at the end of it. So I work as a digital program manager, and I've been working heavily with the community clubs for the last 6 years, as I said. So I'm really excited about what we're about to show, because it's a lot of hard work that I've seen go into the systems, and there's some really, really big benefits for you guys. Before I jump into all that, I'll just get Luke, who's our head of commercial, to take us through the overarching vision, and to kick off the showcase of what we've got to show you tonight.
Thanks, Tom. Good evening, everybody. First and foremost, thank you for taking the time on Tuesday night to come and join us and hear a little bit about what we're planning to deliver over the next 18 months, particularly over the next 3 months. But also thank you for the time that you put into the game. It's no small commitment, and the sport doesn't run without people like yourselves giving up their time and energy and passion, so we're very grateful for everything that you put into the game. Tom gets to do the heavy lifting, but I'm going to just give you a little bit of an understanding of what we're building at FFA for community football. It's something we've been working on really now for 18 months, and it's focused on 3 key principles. It's first and foremost making things easier. Easier for administrators to use, easier for participants to engage with. The second element is faster, and I don't need to tell anyone who's used My Football Club that the concept of faster is a very welcome one within the services that we're seeking to provide. And thirdly, we want to make it cheaper. We want to actually make the systems that we provide you cheaper to use and the costs cheaper for participants. The Play Football vision, as I said, is something that we started working on about 18 months ago. Play Football is the brand that we're rolling out across our digital assets related to participation, and as Tom said, it replaces the old My Football Club brand. You'll see at playfootball.com.au, that's the portal now for people to go to find out about football, to learn where to play, to connect to clubs, and that brand will roll out through the registration system and the competition management system over the next 18 months. In terms of what we're doing, first and foremost, we want to provide a single solution across both elements of the participation experience. So as many of you will know, if not all of you, we've had 2 separate suppliers providing the registration system and the competition management system over the last 6+ years. That's led to a lot of challenges. It's led to challenges in terms of use, and I can assure you it's led to challenges in terms of the administration of those systems. And a lot of the things that you've seen in your experiences, the time that it takes to administer things, the challenges that Tom will go through in terms of data migration, and just the time it takes to register, are due to those 2 different systems not necessarily being entirely compatible. The new system will be powered by InteractSport. It's a single provider that will provide both the registration and competition management. And as you'll see tonight from Tom, we see there's a lot of benefits from having that single source for all of those systems. Phase 1, upgrading the user experience and reducing administration. And then phase 2 is continual improvement. We're very mindful that this is a massive project across a big country with an enormous number of participants. And what we don't want to do is bite off too much too soon and end up letting people down. So it is a phased approach. Again, Tom will take you through phase 1 tonight and what we're going to do. But we will continue to improve, and we will learn things. We'll learn some things tonight talking to all of you. We did this session in Brisbane last week. We learned a few things out of that as well. So we'll be looking to continually improve, and your feedback as you use the system is going to be really important to that. In terms of Play Football and a section at the bottom, look, I won't dwell on this other than to say there are a range of different services and different modules that we're rolling out, which include things like education. Obviously, help and support are really critical. We'll talk about that. We want this to be a single place for you and all the participants in your club to go to find out information about the club, about their training sessions, where they're playing on the weekend, because we know that at the moment you're juggling your websites, you're juggling your comp management, you're possibly juggling Facebook, you're possibly juggling 3 or 4 other digital tools, and we want to bring those together into one location. Fixtures, ladders and results are obviously really critical, and again, giving you some tools for planning and ease of communication with your members. So we're going to go through all of that tonight. That's the overall vision. I'm sure there'll be lots of questions as we go through, but I'm going to hand over to Tom and then I'll come back and try and answer some questions at the end as well. Floor's yours.
So, community digital services. I'd like to just take a quick look back at where we were a couple of years ago. I think it just starts to help me to picture where we're actually going to. So, as Luke said, we're all about improving the experience. So we kind of realised that FFA probably wasn't doing enough in this space to kind of help make football that leader in this digital space, but not so much just about being a leader, just making everything easier for you guys. So we created the Community Digital Services team. So as I said last time, I probably came out here probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was just myself and one other person in the team. But we've built out this quite large digital team, and half of that is solely on the Community Digital Services. So the first hire there was actually a data and tech manager to really get an understanding of our game. It's a heavy data game, and there's stats lying around, and we've got 700,000 participants. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're still understanding the individual as well as understanding everyone else. And we also hired 2 business analysts, and their job was basically to understand everything about the community space. So we've basically had those guys go out and build a baseline of requirements for what a really good competition system would be, and a really good registration system as well. And so we started off doing that with just the in-team knowledge, but we realised that we needed to take it to that next level and increase our stakeholder engagement as well. So that was one of the things that we were probably lacking from FFA. So the business analyst's job was to go out and really understand exactly what was going on in the community space. So we could see quite clearly it was a little bit disconnected and a little bit disjointed. Registrations over here, comps over here, multiple different logins, constantly trying to find your FFA number, things like that. So they've gone out, and I'll just take you quickly through how they went about that approach. But the goal at the end of the day was to research the needs, not for FFA to go, we think this is the best thing to do, but to come to you guys and really understand what do you guys actually need in the system. Do you really need reporting on canteens or injury reports, or is there things like electronic match sheets and things like that, which is really going to help save you guys time? So the scope of it was purely around competition management and registration. So these guys, these 2 guys, and you would have met them before, potentially. We did about 3 or 4 sessions in Perth alone. We did them all over the country though, and these requirement sessions ended up being with 167 different stakeholder groups across 57 visits, and they captured 4,000 competition and registration requirements. Now that's a huge amount of requirements. And one of the important things as they were travelling the country was they were asking questions but also managing expectations, because everyone's going to have their own kind of idea of what the perfect system would be, and everyone does things maybe a little differently. But we wanted to understand everyone and everyone's kind of little local ecosystems and how that kind of would fit into the bigger picture, but also the way that they were doing all these different functions, and maybe there was ways that we could kind of get some synergies across everyone there. So you guys might do something very different compared to 15 k's down the road in maybe a different association or across into a different member federation. So we met with every member federation, lots of association clubs. I've got a list of the Perth clubs here as well, so if there's some things in the system that you don't like, I'll give you the list and you can email those people and let them know why they didn't do a good job at that. But it was clear that we hadn't done enough stakeholder engagement in these sessions. They were saying that this is the first time they felt like they've had a bit of a voice in these sessions. So we really gave it a good go. So what did these sessions look like? We wanted to make sure that the individuals in these sessions knew where we wanted to get to. we wanted to kind of take them on the same journey that we were going on. So I don't know if you can read that up there, but this was the way the sessions kind of went. So take them through the journey with us and how they're specifically contributing to the strategy. So we, again, as I mentioned before, we didn't want to overpromise the system, but we wanted to understand fundamentally how clubs will run and how registrations need to be done. So we tried to do that, we made adjustments, and they came back with that list of 3,000 or 2,000 requirements, so quite a lot. There were some very, very specific requirements that came out that will be in the system, and there's some that won't be. So we wanted to make sure that we've basically got the whole list. But we also wanted to do validation of these as we went along as well. So after these requirement sessions, there was lots of sessions at FFA looking through all these things, trying to find all the requirements and consolidating. So looking at that consolidation process, we got it down to 350 requirements. And so that was a joint process with those BAs, and they kept refining, looking at these things, and really just tried to, as I said, reflect on the whole of football kind of stakeholder groups. And then once we actually had all these, we gave them to a vendor. We gave them to digital vendors and said, are we on the right track? Is this what we should be doing? And we got some great advice to that as well. They said they were particularly overwhelmed with how well good they were. They could see that we'd gone to the trouble of looking at all the different little ecosystems and competitions and things like that, because they did get quite specific. So we gave them over to them. And it's a live beast as well. It's continually changing. Things that you guys say here tonight, stick your hand up and say, is it going to do this? How is it going to do that? I encourage you to do that, because if we haven't thought of it yet, there's no reason why it can't go in the system. It is a live beast. We're constantly updating it. We've got the technology now that it doesn't have to be a big, hard thing for you guys to stick your hand up and say, we think that the system should do this. So we're still able to do that for you. So there is that ongoing maintenance. Now, once we had that, we had to find someone basically to do this. So we went worldwide, and we invited 16 vendors into an expression of interest. Basically, this process was meeting with them, asking them sort of 10 questions, and really understanding how they did their business and what they currently did, who they serviced. And from that list of 16, we got it down to 4 for a RFP, or a request for process, and that is where we really understood their businesses and what they did. And it was a really formalised process. Throughout that process, we also had member federation staff involved as well. So Alex Navasis was involved in that. So again, if there's something not in there, please call Alex and let him know that why I didn't check that. As well as some associations around as well. So once we got that down to a final 2, we got them in for these product demonstrations. And then the 2 kind of big key areas was product and service. So as you guys would know, product is particularly key, but service is very key as well. I mean, if we do want to have changes, or we do want to support you guys properly, then the service end of a vendor is particularly important as well. So we scored each of these vendors, and it came out that InteractSport was the one that was won. They do both retro and comps, which was a big plus. They've been in the game for a while now as well, and they're, as they say, a complete sports management platform. So let's have a look at exactly what they're doing right now. So they've been in football before, so they know how to build a football system, which was particularly key for us. So they do competition management, memberships, registrations. They're really focused on mobile as well, not just mobile apps, but a mobile-first approach. Programming events and websites as well. So that mobile-first approach is, again, really critical. We know that people just want to pick up their phone and quickly register someone or things like that. They're also football people, which is really important for us. As we are the biggest sport, we want to make sure that the vendor completely understood us. They've got a lot of football people within their business, particularly their product managers. They've all got kids who are playing football, or they play football themselves, so they know those kind of key challenges that people are going to have when trying to register their grassroots club. One of the other key things was they really understood the Australian grassroots environment very well, and it's very unique to other countries. Most other countries, football is the biggest sport, and so they can get away with having poor digital systems. But you can't have that in Australia. We know that parents will chop and change. Basically, if they can't get their kid registered quick smart, they might just take them to another sport. So Interact understood that, and that was really important for us. And because they're based in Australia as well, it means we're working on the same time as them. So when things do come in, whether it be emergencies or we just want to work with them quite closely, they're just in Melbourne as well, so it's quite easy for us to work with them there. They're also working on a great technology stack. Now, basically, it just means that we can continue to build on this. We don't have to go in 3 years and find a new supplier who, because they don't have great technology. They're working on a very good technology stack, so it means we can build. When new things start to come out, we can input that into the system. So they understand things like Rego Days. They understand the concept that there is going to be a Saturday in February where everyone's going to want to register. So they need to be able to scale their servers. They need to be able to load test those to make sure that 10,000 people a day can register, 2,000 an hour are going to be rocking up to a local centre to try and register on a gala day or something like that. That was really important to us that they did understand that, and we could definitely see that. So from our interactions and what we've been building with them over the last kind of 4 to 5 months, they seem like a very, very good partner for us and for you guys as well. So they've got some other big partners that they work with as well. So Cricket Australia, if you've seen the My Cricket app, they worked on that as well, and they're live scoring there. They work with Rugby AU, Netball, England Cricket Board, England Netball and Cricket Ireland. So as you can see, they work with some big people, which was again important to us. We're a huge sport, so we wanted to make sure that they understood just how big we were. Now, participation-wise, we'll be the largest of those sports, and again, very important to us. So, as you can see there, working with some quite good people, but it also means that they're working with some stuff that we probably haven't done previously. So they're right across vouchers, so working with state governments to add in things like APIs, which is basically being able to read straight away vouchers that are given out by the government to give discounts at the point of sale. They're able to do things like split payments, or if your clubs want to add in coupon codes, things like that. Those are the kind of things that we'll be able to do with these guys. So if you have maybe a local sponsor who wants to give 10% off at point of sale for anyone who's a member of their local RSL or anything like that, these are the kind of things that we can do that we definitely couldn't do in the previous system. So again, they also do competitions as well. They're very good in that space, so scheduling, grading, they're quite flexible. And as I've said before, everyone does things a little differently, and that was very key for us, that they understood how flexible we have to be in this football environment. So that's basically how we got to this point, but let's have a look at the actual system. What I'll take you through is this kind of first phase. So we won't talk too much about competitions because it's not going to affect everyone. What we will talk about and have a look at is the registrations firstly. So again, this was all about upgrading the user experience and reducing the administration for you guys. And in that phase 2, that's where that kind of continual improvement will come. Okay, we'll rely on your feedback of what you guys think of the system to be able to do that. So firstly, that's what you'll be greeted with when you go to log in. So as you can see, a little bit of a fresh new look. We felt that the Play Football brand works really well, and it was good time because Interact just went through a massive user experience overhaul as well. So they've completely upgraded their user experience, and it works quite well with what we're doing with Play Football there. So the first thing you can probably see there is that's my email address, it's not my FFA number. So that's probably the first big change. You're not going to have to remember your FFA number anymore. I'd say I might be the only person who remembers their FFA number off the top of my head, but I'm sure you guys have been logging in for years and someone could probably recite it to me right now. but you won't need to anymore, essentially. They will be there in the back end, and for things like participants' ID cards or things like that, but it's not a primary thing for people to know anymore or to find. So looking straight onto as you log in as a club administrator, you'll see some things straight away there that already have you saying this is 1,000 times better than my football club already. So as you can see there, you can start to get kind of your metrics straight away. So you can see no club's going to have 150,000, but you can see your active participants straight away. You'll be able to see new people at your club, who's registered and who's pending. You'll also have this kind of dashboard approach where you can see and manage roles and gender, things like that, so you can just graphically look. Currently you log into my football club, and then to find anything out, you might go to reports, and you pull out the report, you pull it into Excel, and then you might put that into a pie chart or do something like that. Again, we want to make these things easier and right there in front of your face, so it'll work better for you. On the right hand side there, you can also see some quick links, so these will be the things that are obviously things you'll need to know straight away. So you could quickly search for a person, just look at your registration types, summaries, and quick reporting and things like that. We understand that right at the start of the year, obviously a lot of the stuff is about trying to get people into the system, but then it's about trying to understand who you actually have at your club and what reports you need to run and things like that. On the bottom right hand side there as well, you'll see there's a notice section as well. This will be an opportunity for if an association or member federation need to alert you to anything there. FFA might put something in there as well if there's a key new feature that might affect you guys. So we're able to kind of constantly communicate with you guys there as well. So looking at another screen here, what you'll be able to do is also update your organisation as well. You can search through your organisation, you can see players from other years. It takes more of a person approach rather than a registration approach. So if you want to quickly search for a person, you know they've been in the club for 10 years, that kind of thing. You don't have to go to the search individual and then you'll see all their registrations. You find the individual and then you can see all their affiliations, things like that. Another big thing will be this user list, as you can see on the left-hand side. Now, I know traditionally you would apply to Football West to be a club administrator, and that will still stay the same. But there's lots of different types of access that you can now have in the system. So if you need a coach to go in there just to look at his team or email some people, things like that, you can start to build out those kind of accesses. You can manage your own user list. You're not going to have to call up Alex Navatsas and ask him if you can get access to something. You'll be able to do that all in there, and in your club training, we'll take you through what types of access you can have. And again, that's where we'll want more of your feedback to say if there is something else that you would require. Someone who you might have, I don't know, a medic person that you're wanting to go run an injury report or something like that. That's where we really want your feedback on there. Also on the left-hand side, you can put in office bearers, so anyone who holds office at the club, put in treasurer's details, all those kind of things. Obviously that helps when you've got turnover, people don't know who to contact within the club, all things like that. The honour board, so MVP, any of those kind of players, if you'd like to keep track of that in the system, that's for you there as well. And also you've got a subscribers list. Now that lends more towards emailing people. I know the current My Football Club functionality is not amazing at emailing people, but this will be much better essentially. So you'll be able to email people, you'll be able to email groups if you want to email specific unregistered players or deregistered players, things like that. That'll all be in the system as well. There's also a new little function there called person merge. Now, in My Football Club, you'd find the same person registered 4 times under 4 different FFA numbers, and then you'd have to contact someone. They could try and get it merged, but you'd end up deleting people and things like that. So you'll be able to merge people in the system yourself. If you can see that they're a one-to-one match, you'll be able to merge those people if they're both registered to your club as well, and you can run a duplicates report for that. And also a player move report. A lot of people don't know where their players are coming from. They're kind of registered to the club, and you don't know anything about them. So you'll be able to see where they've come from if it's obviously within Australia there as well. And this will be your kind of primary registration dashboard. So some of the key things here will be managing your products. The key thing there is we're changing it slightly. We're not calling it packages anymore. We're going to be calling it products. And the big reason for that is because we want you to be able to do things in the system better. And everything shouldn't have to revolve around a registration. So if you want to sell some socks in the system, they shouldn't have to go delete their registration, re-register, and add a pair of socks. You should just be able to go into the system and buy a pair of socks or whichever. So we've separated that out a little bit, so they're called products now. And so you'll be able to see on the left there, there's product management. You'll also be able to build sign-up forms. Now, does anyone here run any sort of summer football or futsal or anything like that? What you'll be able to do is actually build your own sign-up form. We obviously know that we capture a lot of data currently in outdoor football or traditional club football, but we also know that in summer football you might only need their name, their date of birth, gender, and then just get them through the system. We don't need to know their mum's second name or anything like that. So you'll be able to build those sign-up forms yourself with what will cater towards other people who are registering for those kind of summer comps and things like that. And we'll take you through all this in training about how to build those as well. Discounting rules, again, I know this was a nightmare in my football. Sorry, I keep saying these things are a nightmare in my football club, just to make it sound so much better than what's going to be in the system. So, discounting rules. Previously in my football club, again, you had to build your package and then add on minus student fee, and then your package name was about this long. Now you'll just be building your products, and then you can also add in a student discount, so it might be 15% off at the point of sale for anyone who's a student and things like that. It might be a second family member or a coach's discount or things like that. So again, we'll take you through in club training, but we feel like that's a pretty good benefit for you guys there as well. And looking at building out disclaimers, and also you'll be able to manage your payment gateway there as well. So far so good, sounding a little bit better? Well, I've got a couple more. So probably the most frustrating thing I think about my football club was every year once you log back in, setting up every single package again. Yeah, I think we fixed that one. So you'll only have to do it once. And then the next year, just go in and change the price. I think that's one of the biggest bugbears for club administrators is setting up every single package again. You'll also won't have to keep linking it to 4 different things, so to Football West, to an FFA fee. You just have to link it to one thing. We're going to put all the legwork on Football West or the association here. So they will put in our fees. Football West will then connect to those fees, and you just have to pick whichever Football West fee makes sense for whichever package for you guys as well. So not having to do all your packages every year, and also not having to wade through 500 different fees to find the right one. Also looking at all the reporting, it'll be far easier to report on specific things. My football club's very kind of set in its ways, and you kind of have to know exactly where you're looking to find whatever information you were. So the reporting will be much easier as well. And also, when you finally get through to the comp system as well, you'll be able to report on the whole thing rather than having to do some reports in registrations and some in competition management. As I said before, a lot of this will be quite intuitive as well. Basically, we know that volunteers do change quite readily. It is a volunteer-run sport, so we wanted to try and make it as easy as possible. So things like not having to learn how to create products every single year is a big win there, and they just can go in and change the price. You would have seen already, it does look much more modern. I mentioned the coupons as well, the vouchers, which we're able to integrate in the government programs. And again, it's one platform, and we're able to build much more on this with much better technology. So looking at the benefits for the participants as well. So again, it's going to be much easier for them. And I'll go into, actually no, I'll tell you now. Basically, you have to remember, 4 different FFA numbers if you had 4 kids, or find the FFA numbers, things like that. I was going to tell you later, but you now can link all your family together. So you're not having to constantly log in, log out, and find FFA numbers or anything like that. What you'll be able to do is go in, claim the accounts that is within your family, and then you can just flick quickly in between those family accounts as well. So I'll show you that screen in a second. Again, discounting is going to be much easier for them as well, and picking up things. We know that participants were missing maybe discounts or vouchers or coupons or add-ons or things like that. So we want to try and make it easy as possible for them. We know they're still going to pick the wrong package sometimes, but wrong product sometimes, sorry, but we still want to make it as easy as possible for them to try and get them in and out of the process as quick as possible. So I'll tell you about the rest of the participant stuff as well in a sec, but how this is going to affect you and the training and the rollout. So as I mentioned before, we've been working with Alex and his team to kind of bring together a tailored approach to working with you guys here. We understand that you guys, you do register at different times, your registration days at different times, you need to know the system at different times to other people. So we've been working with them to produce a training plan, which will hopefully be pretty helpful for you guys. And it'll come in 3 phases. So we're currently in this awareness phase. I'm telling you about the system, so you guys are now aware of it. You would have got a memo about this training, this information night. Then we'll get into the training and understanding phase, really getting to know the system, and Football West and FFA will be with you along the way to help try and get everyone to a decent state of understanding the system. And then to the adoption phase, which is when you're using the system essentially and going through it. Now, we don't want to just stick you in the cold and say, here you go. So we'll have learning materials and resources as well. Again, people learn in different ways. Some people want to listen to me talk about registration for an hour and a half, and that's fine. Some people would rather watch a video at home. Some people would rather read a PDF document. People do learn in different ways, so we want to provide all these different ways for you as well. So we'll have a resources hub that'll be pretty conclusive there to help you guys learn, and I'll talk more about the support centre as well. I know that's been a bit of a bugbear with the timings for you guys as well, being a different time zone, but I'll go into that in a little bit of detail later on as well. So just looking at the change plan for you guys, so we're in September now. That's that awareness roadshow. What we've currently already been going through is obviously all the development and user testing. Now we've got a lot of people on that now, people from Football West inside the system now, testing out all the little bits of the new system and the new functionality. Then we'll get into the association and club training, and that'll happen kind of October into November and December. And again, working with Alex and his team to get that one all sorted and lock down dates to get you in and learn the system before NPL registrations kick off December, and with grassroots kicking off in January as well. So again, we want to make sure we're communicating to you, trying to be as transparent as possible, and try and get you guys abreast of everything that's going on as much as possible as well. So you would have received the invitation to this showcase. After this happens, we'll invite you to club training, hopefully try to send you some briefing packs as well, so you can start looking at the system. And again, we just want to basically over-communicate, just so you know exactly what's going on with what we're trying to roll out. Now, the last little bit on this is the comp management system. Now, again, not everyone's going to be going on comps for next year, but there is a couple of big benefits for those going, particularly around electronic match sheets. So this will kind of be piloted with some people in Football West. I know that's a bit of a bugbear right now, doing it all on paper and loose stats, who scored goals, whichever. I know that's a big one for me, scoring goals. We'll be doing electronic match sheets going forward, which will be able to keep all that data much better. Also, there'll be integrated referee scheduling and automation of fixturing, but again, that'll be more with Football West. But yeah, the comp system is going to improve as well. It's all going to be into one system, and it's going to kill a lot of that kind of manual entry of admin in there as well. Again, we'll take you through more of what's happening in the comps in your club training, but I just thought I'd tell you about the electronic match sheets anyway, because basically what the future's coming, I guess. So that's kind of for the administrators at the moment. Again, I know you'll have lots of questions, so we're close to the question time, but thought I'd just quickly take you through the kind of football account. So what the football account is, it's the front door to football. So it's a way that we can verify a user. User can enter their name, date of birth, and email address. They can claim their account that's already in the system. So it just means that they can also log in with their email address as well, and it's just an integrated way that they can kind of run across all the websites while being logged in, and we can confirm the user's identity. What this is going to stop is that creation of extra accounts and things like that. I know when people do get frustrated if they can't find their FFA number, they do create another one. This is hopefully going to stop that because they'll be able to do it with their email address. So we can start to provide faster and more personalised service to participants for things they actually need. So their login will look something like this, as you can see there. Enter their email, password, and they can get in. So obviously this isn't Liam Munn, that's our national captain. The key thing I wanted to show here is they can quickly navigate through my details, which is obviously their details, all their previous affiliations, so where they've been, start to look at their playing history, what they're currently doing, and their current club. But as you can see in that top little corner there, it says Liam Munn. That's where you'll be able to drop down quickly and change between your kid if you'd like to get into that profile. It's as easy as that. You don't need to jump out, log back in, find the FFA number, password, all those kind of things. You'll be able to link those accounts right from the start. So what is changing, as I said before, they'll be able to use the participant's email address to verify the system. We'll also have social accounts, and we know that a lot of people use that to log in. We'll start with Facebook and Google, so they'll be able to log in through those social accounts as well. They will still retain their FFA number, that's the key thing there, so you will be able to still have it on match cards or anything you will there. They just won't see it as clearly because they won't be using it to log in. So that's probably the biggest change for them there. And the process, so from about mid-November, they'll actually be able to claim those accounts. So we'll send out a communication for them to jump in and start claiming and start linking those accounts, just so when they're ready to register, they won't need to do that process and they'll be able to get stuck in and register straight away. So yep, they'll be able to link those accounts, all associated with their email, and again, as I said, they don't need to remove their FFA number. So how are we going to support all this? So as I mentioned before, we've got the resource, we'll have the resource hub. So that'll be a fully functioning support portal. And again, as I said before, some people do learn off PDFs, so we'll have that kind of documentation and PDFs there. But we'll also have things like webinars and videos for people to learn as well. So all the information that's kind of necessary will be there for you to navigate. We do understand that change is hard, so we want to try and provide as much different ways to learn as possible. But also for you guys with a new treasurer coming in or a new club registrar, things like that, we want to make sure that we're providing easy how-to guides on the kind of key things of the system so that it's not too much of a hassle as they're going. Lastly, just on the Play Football Support Centre. So this has been running for about the last 6 years. I started in there about 6 years ago taking calls, and traditionally it opens in its kind of full functionality at the start of January, and that was from 12 p.m. till 9 p.m. That was Eastern Standard Time. As you know, we're rolling this out, so we want to make sure we're supporting you properly. So we're going to open it probably from mid-November and have it going from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. So that'll be, 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. We'll also work with Football West to make sure we understand when are your kind of key time periods that we can put more people on. If you're doing registrations at 8 p.m. at night here, we want to make sure we're supporting you as well. And we understand that people aren't going to be able to do it at 3 o'clock or things like that. People have jobs, so we want to make sure we're supporting you guys properly. So that'll start from mid-November. We'll be using a fresh desk support system as well. It just means that we can track everything. We can track everything we did last year when people were emailing or calling us, things like that. You can also monitor response time, so if we're not getting back to you in a timely manner, you'll be able to see that. But we're also going to make sure that our support people are better trained than ever as well. So we traditionally get quite a high turnover in that, but we've got about 8 or 9 people coming back from last year, so they understand football quite well. They're getting trained on the new system now as well, and so they're going to be there for you guys. If you need someone to help you through on 8 p.m, just sit with you for an hour, that's what they're there for as well. So we're going to make sure, we're supporting you all there in that way as well. So that's all I had to show you tonight, but I'm conscious you guys are going to have some questions as well. So feel free to fire away on anything I've just presented, no matter how small, if it's something really specific function-wise or anything like that.
So you said accessibility. Does it always have to be desktop-based, or can it be from tablet-based, mobile-based, based on everything you showed before? I know there's limits when you use a mobile or whatsoever, but it's got technically the same capabilities from either, from all devices?
Yeah, so one of the important reasons we went with Interact is because of the way they do develop, and a lot of it is mobile first. So we wanted to make sure that the system is going to be very useful for tablets, especially if you're going down to training to hurry up people to register and things like that. You want the system to be able to be flexible enough to look at that. So I might let Luke talk a little bit later on what we're doing in the app space as well going forward in the next couple of years. But yeah, on this system, definitely mobile first approach.
Sounds brilliant.
So it's the responsive sites, which means they optimise for the device that you're on. But our intent, as I talked about earlier, in terms of stages beyond stage 1, is to build a My Football app. That's something that we'd like to do prior to the 2020 participation season, and that will obviously be optimised from that.
Good. Sounds all too good to be true.
Sorry?
This all sounds too good to be true, to be honest.
Is this I think I saw somewhere there was subscription based, so does that mean our Football West fees are going up? Is this accommodating this, or is this an opt-in, opt-out approach?